So, what does straight edge mean to you?
Straight edge for me means pure body, pure mind. For a lot of people, it really means just, like purification of the soul. I mean, it's a chance to really like cleanse yourself and become like a better person, I think personally. For a lot of people, it's straight edge isn't really, like a lifestyle they plan on choosing, which, I mean, it's fine. I don't like to be the type of person to pressure. But I mean, for me personally, as an individual in the straight edge movement, it's really been, just like a lifesaver, really. I mean, and that's how I feel for a lot of people, is that, people who are in bad situations, who, come from families, of alcoholics or drug addicts, or live in areas where, alcoholism and drug use is really like common in the culture. For them to be able to pull themselves out of that and use straight edge as a way to really just, like become a better person, I mean, outside of the drug culture, is really like amazing, because it's a bond, you have people who are supporting you, I mean, it's a constant reminder. You wake up every day, and if you put on that jacket, if you X up whatever like is you're down with, like, it's a reminder. You're reminding yourself that, like, you made this commitment to live a drug-free life.
All right. How long have you been straight edge, and what has it done for you?
I've been straight edge for almost 3.5 years. I've been a part of the hardcore scene for about 13, and when I grew up, I was really into, like drinking and like a little bit of drug use, because, I mean, that's what a lot of my friends were into. A lot of my friends were, getting into straight edge and then getting out of it immediately afterwards. And, I mean, for me, I really saw an opportunity to just kind of, like, be a part of something, I mean, I grew up, my life was really, really messed up, I was just, it's a long story that I don't want to get, really into, like, too much detail. But I mean, it really started to define me as a person. Like, I made a lot of friends, through that. I mean, it's like, it's really a part of hardcore, really big part of hardcore. I mean, for a lot of people, I mean, straight edge has been part of the hardcore scene, just as long as, like anything, really. I mean, it's, like started back in like, like the early '80s with Minor Threat, and just filtered up to like Boston and just became like a big thing. And I mean, I see that, as being like a defining part of it. Not like a major part of it. It doesn't like encompass everything that hardcore is about, but it's important to a lot of people, because as as the hardcore scene, as I see it, it's a community. It's a community-based movement. We are trying to build something. We're trying to create something outside of like the mainstream system. And as we all know, drugs, alcohol, tobacco products, they're all, I mean, they're all supported, by major industries and whatnot. And by abstaining from that, by choosing straight edge as a lifestyle, you are basically, you're stepping away from the norm. You're basically being abnormal by being straight edge, because you're not, going out and partying every night, or, supporting, the tobacco industry. So I mean, for me, like, it's a part of the rebellion of hardcore. It's just another step.
Since you've really been paying attention to the straight edge movement, have you seen the movement become more popular or less popular over the years?
More popular, but for the wrong reasons, I think. We all know growing up, I know personally growing up, like I said earlier, I mean, a lot of my friends, when I got into hardcore, when I was 15, 16 years old, most of those dudes who were straight edge in high school, the second, they got out, it was sort of like, oh, well, there's nothing better to do, let's just get stoned. I mean, and I'm pretty sure they probably had their own reasons, which, I mean, again, I'm not one to judge, but I mean, it's really tough when you've got so many kids who are getting into hardcore, seeing straight edge, seeing the vegan lifestyle and things like that, and just being like, I want to do that. And then, the next day, all their friends are like, yeah, we're going to go, drink and party. And then they're like, oh, well, kind of want to go with you guys. And I mean, it's not for everybody. And, some people make it, some people don't, and those people who do, like, outlive everyone else, I mean, they really, they're really making a name, for the movement. They're keeping it positive, and it's tough too because there's so many straight edge bands out now. There's so many kids, who are getting into straight edge bands like Tyrant and all the Seventh Dagger record bands and all of that, and 1981 records, and all of that stuff. And it's just it's amazing to see that it's becoming, more than just an underground movement. Like kids, who aren't even really into hardcore, who are into like punk and indie rock and stuff, are finding it too. Like I met a kid at a show a while back who was into ICP and the Juggalo community and all that stuff, and he was straight edge, even though he was telling me openly that a lot of his friends who are also in the same Juggalo movement kind of give him a little bit of guff for it because it's not common in other movements. I mean, in straight edge, it's very, very popular. I mean, you go anywhere, outside of even this area, like Syracuse, Albany, sometimes in New York City, Long Island, it's huge. The movements are big. There's like hundreds and hundreds of kids who are just like committing to this lifestyle. And I mean, some of them won't make it, some of them will. And I mean, it's your level of commitment. It's how far you're willing to go. So I mean, I think it's pretty popular, and I think it's going to continue to get like more and more explosive, like even into the mainstream.
What's your opinion on the militant edgers and the people who go out and do that sort of thing?
Well, as you know, I'm vegan straight edge, so I deal with it quite a bit, especially when you associate straight edge with veganism, because, I mean, veganism, like straight edge, it's purity of the body, purity of the mind. It's also, I mean, you're basically looking out for everybody. I mean, the hardest part about the idea of militant straight edge, or hate edge, as it's been termed, in other areas. I've even heard of a couple of groups in Vermont, a couple of years back, that were really, really into hate edge. And the problem is that I don't doubt those kids' level of commitment to straight edge, but it's a matter of how far are you willing to go for your lifestyle, because you have to take in mind that a lot of people in hardcore don't really aren't committed enough to get into a lifestyle like straight edge, like the straight edge movement. I mean, and that's fine, that's great. But, it's tough when you're going to a show and you got a bunch of kids all X'd up, who are just out to damage somebody, for smoking a cigarette or, for, not being edge. And that's when it's kind of, it's not cool, because like I said before, the straight edge movement, hardcore movement, punk rock, it's all built on community. We're trying to build something, we're trying to create something, we're trying to, unify in a family sense, everything. And hardcore comes first, like that's the community. Straight edge is a big part of it, I mean, it's not, like the defining, but I mean, it's really, really big a part of it. So when you got kids going out there and being in the straight edge movement, just to wreck a kid, like, oh, I got X's on my hands, so that, that makes me better than everyone else. That's when it becomes an issue, because now you've got people, growing up, 15, 16-year-olds, going to a show, seeing a bunch of dudes wearing straight edge hoodies who are just smacking kids around, fucking kids up, and then all of a sudden, they're getting these false ideals of what straight edge is really about, and all of a sudden they're thinking, oh wow, this is bad, like I don't want to be a part of this. These kids are all, these kids are all mean and rude, and they're just, like they have no respect for anybody but themselves and their friends who are straight edge. And that gets really tough, and when kids get the wrong idea about the straight edge movement, it hurts us. It really affects us, because then we've got people who are judging us for our lifestyle, when really straight edge is supposed to be positive. It's supposed to be about, like abstaining from drugs, abstaining from alcohol, like taking care of yourself and being, like a model, like citizen. Like I have a son, I'm 27 years old. I want him to grow up, having a father who will encourage him to make the right decisions. If he wants to drink, if he wants to smoke, that's great, like whatever. I can't, grab him by the wrist and smack his hand, but I can be there for him to be like, you know what, that's bad. You shouldn't do that. That's going to hurt you. I can be there to tell him that, and I feel like I'm making a positive, like decision. But, being a role model through straight edge, instead of just going out and completely giving people the wrong idea about what it's about.
All right. Thank